my family, my life, writes Sar Cachero. Agreed. Thank you. Tomas Manglona joins us now. Good morning, Tomas.
Hi, Tomas.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
How are you?
As well as can be.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, nice to see you too. It's been a while, Chris.
It has.
Like a full 12 hours.
I know. It's crazy. 8:41. So, the daily question.
Yeah, so yesterday, as you know, there was the outage for Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. And we just, decided to ask people how they felt being offline. And we got some responses to share with you. Someone here on Instagram writing their productivity increased 127% for the 6 to 8 hours that Facebook was off during the wee hours of the morning.
That's funny.
Someone writing that. More people on Instagram writing, when did this happen? I didn't even notice. Someone also writing, no impact. Life went on as usual.
Right.
Of course, this was just the outage for the social media app. The internet didn't go down, right? So another person commenting shows how much I rely on technology. Moving over to Facebook, some of our commenters writing, Nate here says, it was nice to actually see people looking away from their phones for more than 1 minute. And Samantha commenting, I missed the link with about 6 crying faces. So Samantha, hopefully you're tuning in this morning. Joshua comments, people had to talk to one another in person. Social media influencers were actually contemplating having to get real jobs. The 6-hour shutdown was a thing of beauty. And that's not the top comment, but perhaps it might be for the outage yesterday. Another commenter writing, Espenson writing, yes, we cannot communication to family, friends, and our viewers. And especially we can't have any information at all. And so we know how important it is to share that information out. So that outage definitely impacting this viewer. One of our top fans, Chamrita Regis, writing, did not really impact me. Listening to KOM on the radio. Might not see their beautiful faces as long as I hear their voices, guests, and the top news topics. Again, we were asking yesterday, how did the outage impact you? And those were some of the responses. And we'll have our daily question up again at 10 for folks to weigh in on.
Any hints?
Still working on it.
Still working on it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What else you working on?
We have another Behind the Front Line segment airing tonight, and we're actually going to speak with one of the doctors now from behind the scenes at Guam Memorial Hospital. I think it's interesting because he provides a different perspective. Mm-hmm. We spoke to a lot of the nurses, the case managers, the administrators, the impact coordinators, the planners, and this doctor has a different point of view.
Totally
and actually
different.
Shares with us what the most common question on vaccinated people ask him.
The patients that are there?
Yes.
Yeah.
The patients in GMH, the most common question that he gets asked as a doctor. And
oh,
so we'll share
man,
that tonight.
The suspense is killing me.
You were there.
I know, but I don't want to spoil it for everybody.
Well, yeah, it's, again, all in an effort to provide the best information possible and highlight the frontline heroes that are working day in and day out to deal with this surge that we're in, this Delta surge, and again, with all of these triple-digit positives almost daily and more deaths. I mean, it's just, we did this interview last Thursday.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, all of them still are really relevant to share because of just how long this surge is going on for.
Yeah.
And so we'll have more on that tonight.
Yeah, great series Behind the Front
great
Line.
job.
Yeah. What about Pacific Matters? What are you working on for Pacific Matters?
Yeah, so next week on Pacific Matters, we're actually going to be focusing on the environment. And so we're going to have a teacher who won a recent award for doing some really innovative things in schools on Saipan for the environment. We're also going to have one environmental writer who recently surveyed the landfills on Saipan and found some of the most dumped items. And then we're also going to have some really great clips from the Rhoda Coconut Festival. And our friends from Rhoda sent over some great videos.
Let me get in the CNMI. They don't have COVID. They have things called festivals. They had a gala.
And mandatory quarantine.
Yeah.
So
well, they also have quarantine.
Right before
we're not doing anything like that here.
And so I think Rhoda has another festival fiesta coming up. And so I heard all the flights were booked for that, and the charter flights were booked.
And then to me, that's such a huge takeaway, because in order to get to where they're at in the CNMI, they had to do uncomfortable, well, let's just say uncomfortable things.
And continue to have to do uncomfortable
Yeah.
things. I know one of our stories last week that a lot of people commented on was the complaints, and something we asked Governor Ralph Torres at the press conference on Friday, which is residents are saying it's better to come into the CNMI as a tourist because you get the amenities and have a bit more freedom maybe than returning resident who has to stay in mandatory quarantine in conditions that are not so.
So how did the governor of the CNMI defend that decision?
Well, he said, there's no way to please everyone, and this is what we have to do. And I think for the most part, while we did also report on that, most people do understand the importance of it, right? And so we were talking before on the show about what how people feel, and then what people feel they're entitled to. But I think it's been almost around like 200 days since the last community transmission. All of the cases have been identified and stopped at the border because of this mandatory quarantine. And then they, it's a 5-day quarantine, but actually it's 6 days because your day 1 is day 0, actually. Mm-hmm. So that's something I'll be going through starting on Friday, hopefully.
That's right,
And we'll have that report for you, walking you through the mandatory quarantine, which I think might be the, right now the only active one of its kind in the U.S. also.
Right, and it just irks me that we're seeing these numbers and these deaths for 11 weeks now, and we haven't even done. I mean, that would be a great one. Reinstitute the quarantine. We have the facility; it's right there. But just not doing anything. And there was a comment here, very frustrating, that that's what we're doing is nothing. So yeah, I mean, God, I hate to rub it in, but CNMI looking pretty good from the COVID perspective.
Yeah, and so we're also gonna have a lot more reporting from the public hospital on Saipan as well. Gonna share a lot of what they're doing there at the front line.
Are you doing a tour?
Yes, yeah, we'll actually be doing another tour there. We did one last year, remember? When they were just setting up the alternate care site, which fortunately they haven't had to use as much. They're using now for vaccinations and boosters, which are rolling out just like it is here. So a lot to expect. And of course, if you're just catching up with regional news, also the CNMI special election for Precinct 3 is happening on September 16. We know that Governor Torres will be out campaigning on that day also, and trying to follow his team, and also provide you the latest on that, because this is going to decide the large majority or minority in the lower house in the CNMI as well. So
we're so glad that we can turn our eye to more regional matters now that you're on board, Tomas. So thank you.
Great job.
Thanks.
There you go, Tomas Manglona from the KUAM News team. Comments here. We did have some comments. Donovan Santos comments in here, and I assume he's talking about the incident, the certified incident.
Okay.
I don't know why anyone is surprised. This is the same kind of rhetoric that's pushed all over KUAM, on the link and the news. All you have done since the start of the pandemic is try to divide our island and exploit the crises. Shame on you, KUAM. Ooh, tell us what you really think. And we also had a couple other comments here. My family comments. We're also sorry what happened to Miss Daphne had happened. Sincere apologies.